Okay. Welcome back, guys. Another PvE Maelstrom build. This is for the Stam DK. I've used this build actually on my Stam Sorc now. This is probably going to be my preferred go-to build for all Stam classes. This one's a little different than the Danger Zone one I was using. Danger Zone used Twice Spawn, which is good. It's a very good build. It uses Maelstrom weapons. This one does not. This one does not use Maelstrom weapons, but it does use Vicious Ophidian, which is just like a king set in Maelstrom. Vicious Ophidian so good for Stam classes in here. So that is probably the difficult thing to get in here. But anyway, I'll run through the build real quick. I use Thief, so I only have one Mundus. I use Thief. The food I use is max health and max stam. So let's go through equipment. So I'm using 5 Vicious Ophidian, all weapon enchants right here. 3 jewelry. Then I have 2 body pieces. Medium. Divines. Then I have 3 Hundings here on the body, all divines. And then I have 2 Hundings here on both daggers. Now it's really just like a ton of, we're pretty much going for the maximum amount of crit chance we can, which is why we have 2 daggers. And we have Thief. Up here, we have Veldrith. I have a light helmet because it's divines, and I don't have a better helmet. So if I had a medium divines helmet, I would, but I don't. The more you want 5 medium, so make sure you do that. But the more medium you have, you know, the more crit chance you get. So you want to use that to the best of your ability. So we have sharpened as well on these. You want to do that. The penetration is very important. And then I do use a Maelstrom bow, actually. So I lied before. I have a Maelstrom bow. This is actually supposed to be sharpened. Turns out I'm using a precise one the whole time. Okay, whatever. It's precise. But anyway, you want to use a sharpened bow back here. This is same thing. Volley's just really good in here. And even if you don't have a Maelstrom bow, Volley's still very good to use on your back bar. If you don't have a Maelstrom bow, you can just put a bow on there with like a weapon damage enchant to get that spike in damage. That would probably be your best option to go. So that's the equipment. Champion points. Again, I'm not positive where to put this, how much where. Like, I may want more piercing, I'm not sure. I'm not going for, like, the best score in the world. I'm just trying to, like, I try to do runs that are pretty good. I have a lot in precise strikes because their crit's so high. And a lot in Thom because it's mostly dot damage. And a good chunk in Mighty. A lot of what you do in here is, well, here, I'll explain this CP setup in a sec. Let me do the rest. Over here I have 74 in Tumbling, 9 in Mooncalf, 94 in Warlord, 11 in Quick Recovery, 44 in Hardy, 64 in Elemental, 48 Thick-Skinned. There's a lot of elemental damage. It spikes high. I have a little on Spell Shield, although that's probably not a good idea. Let's take that out. Spell Shield kind of blows. It scales terribly. Alright, so we changed that. Anyway, if your CP looks roughly along those lines, it's good. The reason I have a lot in like Precise and Thom is this build, basically, you kill whatever you focus on right off the bat dies very quickly. This build pulls away from TBS and the whole crit chance, crit damage thing, because you're just going to make use of Veldrith, and like when a mob spawns, you're instantly going to blast it with Veldrith, and you're going to kill it. Usually what I do, like, say there's 3 mobs that spawn, I'll go here to the one mob, I'll put down a trap, and I'll put that down, and then I'll go over to the other mob that spawns here, and as he spawns, I'll hit him. Veldrith is going to proc because those arrows are hitting the one guy, the trap hits the guy, and it's like, this thing's instantly fucked. If this is a hard mob, I can stick him with a poison injection, and then I go kill the last guy. It's generally what I do. Sometimes I AoE them, sometimes we'll isolate, kill one, and there's 2 over here, and we'll tornado them or something. That's a big part of it. As far as skills go, I use Bloodthirst, which is a different morph than what I use on my Stamsar because he has crit surge. I don't have crit surge here. Your survival is tougher on this DK for sure. And you may want to run more health on your build depending on your racial. I'm a red guard. My health is 16.3. It's very low. This is a very risky way to play. Like, you can afford to throw health in here and slow it down. I'm going for, like, really high, quick clears. And I just like, again, pushing the build to the limit on damage. But anyway, Bloodthirst is going to heal. That heals on completion of the last stab. Blood Craze is a dot. This is at a dual wield. This one heals over time, but it's not very much at all. Tornado is Tornado. We're going to use this when we have multiple mobs to clear. As a red guard, I have good stam management, so I can animation cancel this pretty well. And speed it up. Which is pretty much just me using the skill and immediately blocking. Whereas people in PvP like to refer to it as me macroing. We have Noxious Breath here, which is a debuff and a dot. And this is a cone. Now, this one's really useful. I ended up moving this to my front bar, and I had Trap here, which is really good, the Fighter's Guild thing. It gives you more damage. But it doesn't work. Like, it works so much better on the front bar because, like, you can just Noxious Breath to debuff right off the bat. Like, you want to get it immediately on the front before you start sticking them with dots or doing any damage, really. Now, the guys you burst, you don't have to as much, but you still will. So again, to repeat, if there's like a 3-point thing spawning, you'll have this and this. You'll lay that down for a guy spawning. And then what you'll notice is when you're in Maelstrom and you see the little portal appearing, before the mob actually comes out of the portal, you can start hitting them with effects. What I mean by that is, as the portal appears, you'll see on the screen here, it'll say immobilized. It means the trap's already hit the mob. He hasn't started taking damage, but the effect of the trap has rooted the mob. And I get the buff of Minor Force right when that thing activates. So you can hit mobs with effects before they actually spawn. And where else that's important is, so I do that combo in that one, and I come over to this mob. I'm going to kill it as soon as it spawns. Same thing goes. You can stick the portal with Noxious Breath, and it debuffs the mob before it even spawns. So as soon as it spawns, he's already debuffed, and then you're hitting him, and then Veldrith procs, and he instantly dies. So that's a big use of Noxious Breath. You still want to use it beyond that, especially on bosses. You want to keep it up, rotate damage. This last 10 seconds. So you want to reapply it after 10 seconds. Over here we have Venomous Claw, which is pretty much the nastiest dot. This thing is strong as hell. So as soon as you get Noxious on, you want to do Venomous Claw. And Venomous is a real smooth animation, very easy to get on there. So this is your first major dot you always really want to stick on mobs. It even does decent initial damage, like 4,600. It's just a quick swipe. I mean, it's pretty much doing like what Steel Tornado's doing, but it's got the poison dot coming after. So Venomous Claw is like your go-to. Like if you have a mob that you don't need to pound a lot of dots on it, then you can go and, like the third mob, you would run over and Noxious Breath it, light attack, Noxious Claw, and then depending on how much it has, what else you would do to it. You go from there. Then we have Dawnbreaker. I have Smiting just because I could have Flawless, but I don't. Over here we have Poison Injection, bow skill. Endless Hail bow skill. And then I have Igneous and Vigor. You want Vigor, by the way, on a DK. I wouldn't even bother messing with this place without Vigor. It's crazy. You'll have to bring a two-hander, and it's going to kill your damage. But Igneous, very useful. So basically, if you've taken like sharp spike damage, you can like roll quick do an Igneous and then Vigor, and that'll heal you up. The other thing about Igneous is you get these really essential passives. So you get 5% weapon damage from Minor Brutality here. You get 5% Stam restore, and you're stacked on Stam. So this is very good to use, like, all the time. And then we have, we have Igneous Shield's Major Mending. So that's why you want to pop that real quick. It gives you a light shield, and then we Vigor right behind it. And then lastly, we have in the Fighters Guild Rearming Trap, which we're using a lot. Pretty much the start of every round, we're going to run over and hit a portal with Trap and a bow. And that can do a lot. Like sometimes I'll just pop that, and then I'll bow shot, and then I'll turn and kill whatever. But a lot of times, Veldrith will proc as soon as the round starts because of the trap dot, because of the bow dot. So you want to be facing the other mob to get your Veldrith to shoot out and burst something else for free. I'm still working on making sure I do that as much as possible. The last thing we have in here is Corrosive, which I use for certain bosses. Like the end of round 3, I use it. I use it part of the way through round 5. I use it on like the Wamasu on 7 because I just can't be bothered sometimes with his damage, and I don't want to die to him. It'll also protect you against the poison. I just saved myself last run by popping a Corrosive. But anyway, it has a lot of good moments to use it, just to get through like a hard spawn. And I save it for that, like round 3 specifically. The whole way I play that round is I just ignore the ads. I take the boss to about half, I pop Corrosive, and then I just focus the boss down and kill it. So it's real useful there. And that's pretty much the skill lineup. I kind of went over the skill rotation, like the trap, this. Now when I fight a boss, for example, I'll put down trap, this. Mob comes up and spawns. I'll drop a heavy attack into him. Then I do poison injection. Then I come over here. I'm going to Noxious. I mean, again, you could Noxious before the mob even spawns. Like you see the thing. You see the bubble appear. You drop trap on it. As soon as you see immobilized, you pop that. And then you queue this up. Now the mob appears. Heavy attack. Poison injection. Come over. Venom Claw. Light attack again. Ult. Light attack. Blood Craze. And then start stabbing the fuck out of him. And then rotate your dots back in after like 10 seconds. And repeat. And you slam it down. So you don't get the amp dots off the Maelstrom weapons, but the reason for this build is basically a lot of time you spend in Maelstrom is killing trash. And what this build is good at is killing trash waves really quickly, more effectively. And that's really due to Veldrith. So we're taking advantage of Veldrith, and then we're still keeping Vicious Ophidian, which we need. And then if we didn't do that, we would basically do a 3-piece and then a 2-piece Maelstrom daggers, but we're better off just doing the Hundings, getting the extra weapon crit, the weapon damage amp, and just blasting stuff. We still get through the bosses just fine with this build. So, and it's very fast. Lastly, I use these pots. So this restores stamina, gives me Major Brutality, Major Savagery. I do not have Major Brutality or Major Savagery. So without this pot being up, I don't have this. Now, a lot of times when I'm clearing trash, again, I don't need it. But you want to use it because it's going to speed it up a hell of a lot. When you pop this pot, you're at 80% crit. And then, our weapon damage is amped up. There's with Major and Minor. brutality. So really high crit, good weapon damage, good max stam, lots of useful stuff on bar to rotate dot damage. But yeah, that's pretty much the rotation. I'll post a run as well to give you an example of what I mean about how I kill these mobs, how I rotate through them. Not sure what else to really mention here. Again, I will use this on all Stam builds probably now. So I'll use this if you see me do this on my Stam Sorc. Same build, same concept. It's really, really a nice setup. I think maybe even next patch it'll still be the way to go. Not positive. I don't need much more armor penetration. I'm pretty good on armor penetration.
User was moved
because you've got major fracture, you've got and you have the sharpened weapons as well. So if there's any questions, just let me know in the comments on this. Guys in chat, do you think I missed anything here? I think I pretty much covered it all. This again is a PvE build. So I will do other DK stuff for PvP, but that is not what this is for. It is not for PvP. This is PvE focused. And you could use this in dungeons as well and be very effective in dungeons. As far as raiding goes, that's where Twiceborn becomes very effective. And you look at builds like the one I made with my Stam Sorc, Hurricane Deeps. It's taking advantage of that Twiceborn. And it swaps Veladrith in and out depending on what you're doing. But Twiceborn is really good on raid format because you start getting Warhorn, and Warhorn benefits the Shadow and the Thief combination much more in that scenario. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Again, I'll post a Stam DK run separate from this build, and you can reference that just to see how I deal with certain waves. If you struggle with this build, pack on more health. You could afford to add on a couple thousand more health, and the way you would do that is maybe just slap on either enchants, but more easily you could probably just add some health here. It's not going to kill you in here to do that, to add some health, to keep yourself alive from certain things that would just immediately kill you. There are some dangerous rounds in here. The ice round is the one I die to the most, hands down. And there's just, it's nothing new. There's a couple spawns in there that are brutal. Focusing down certain spawns really quick, it makes a night and day difference. If I run over and I start with the archer, I put a trap on it, and I instantly kill it with Veladrith proc combo. It just makes it so much easier. Oh yeah, another thing to note. I will drop Igneous, and I will put up Reflect for 2 rounds. I put it up for the ice round and the fire round. The ice one is round 5, I believe, right? It's pretty easy to know what I mean when I say the ice one. The fire one, I mean, is the one before the last, which should be round 8. So I put Reflect on for those rounds. And outside of that, I'll use Igneous throughout the rest of it for the damage, amp, and everything. But Reflex really good for the archers and the ice guys on that round. And then on the last round, there's the healers and there's the fire guys. They just spawn a bunch, and it's just a good safety net, So it's good there to use those. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Hope you enjoy this one. It is a solid build, and again, it's probably get you through this the fastest if you master using this build and you have access to this equipment. It's probably the fastest way to go about it. As far as filling it in with, what if I don't have Vicious Ophidian, which is the question I get the most. The build function's completely different. Some people don't have Vicious Ophidian, but they have Maelstrom. Some people don't have the Maelstrom weapons, but they do have Vicious Ophidian. It's hard to make a build for everything. This is kind of like your best of the best build. This is like something to reach for if you want to, come in here and clear this place out, or just have a great PvE build that just can work everywhere in dungeons and Maelstrom, whatever it is. This is a devastating PvE build. Because crit rate's so important. So if you haven't figured that out and you're looking to do like strong endgame PvE builds, the crit is just so important. Mobs don't have crit resist. It's just as simple as that. But I mean, yeah, it's tough to suggest what to get right now. Next patch will be different. You'll be able to get a lot of sets with jewelry, whereas right now you can plug in agility, 3-piece there. But that's an alternative. You could do 3-piece jewelry here, and then if you don't have Eldritch, you could do like a 1, 2, 3, 4 off this, and still have the 5 hundings going with the daggers. So I mean, there's different things you could come up with. Honestly, though, like next patch, there will be better things you can do than agility. Like you could do like a 3 here, and you could just swap VO out entirely if you don't have it because you don't have a trial group. There's a couple really good sets that you could, like the one that adds all Stam, the Hulk set or whatever it is, or the Automaton, which is physical damage. Something like that would be a good replacement, and that's coming in about a month, depending if you're on PC or console. But yeah, I get that question a lot in build videos, so that's my quick take on that. So again, hope it helps you. I don't have a build for every scenario, but this is a great end game one to strive for. So hope it works out for you. Hope it helps you. I will, again, post something separate. I'll probably link it in the comment that you can reference this run on, how this set plays out. All right? Thanks, guys.